everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation, and a Paws On Manga segment.
And today we're covering some of the Chainsaw Man manga.
Since the anime adaptation has gotten a huge following from horror fans, and it became Ryan Colt Levy's favorite manga series, we definitely had to cover it. But
before we start, be sure to like, subscribe for occasionally some future podcasts and Walter Paws videos.
Yes, thanks for joining us, subscribing, sharing our videos, and commenting. We love hearing your thoughts and appreciate you so much.
Yes.
And if you haven't watched our podcast on the anime coverage, it should be coming out right now. Give it a watch when you finish hearing about the manga itself.
Yes.
So, full disclosure, we've read volumes 1 through 7. We read 1 through 5, immediately one after the other, right after finishing season 1.
Right.
And I absolutely loved reading the first 5 volumes. They are literally one-to-one to the anime.
Yes.
And it was written so well, and the imagery is good, and the craziness of the anime is in there. The action, the comedy, everything has translated very well from the manga to the anime.
Yes, for sure.
For those of you not familiar, Chainsaw Man is a manga written by Tatsuki Fujimoto. It's in the genre of action, comedy, horror, dark fantasy. It originally began running in December of 2018 and is still currently running with 18 volumes today.
Right. And with the anime that is now a couple years old now, it still gained a huge fan base from people who really love the manga and been waiting for a while for an anime adaptation for it. And with the anime, there's only been one season so far, and there is a movie coming up before season 2 where it adapts the Rize arc of the manga, which came as a bit of a surprise because we weren't sure why that particular story was getting a movie, but I guess since Demon Slayer and JJK and MHA have done storyline movies so well, they decided, okay, we'll jump on the bandwagon too.
And also when you get to volumes 6 and 7 and you learn more about this character, then you can see why they chose to focus the movie on that character.
Right.
It makes more sense.
Right.
So this story follows Denji, who's a teen who has just had a horrible life to date.
Oh,
and
gosh, this poor kid.
He ends up getting a friend for a dog-like devil named Pochita, who's very cute. And at one point, Denji just has this horrible outcome. Looks like his life is going to come to an end, just as badly as he's lived it. And then he's being so good to Pochita that Pochita grants him the ability to transform parts of his body and chainsaws when he fuses with Denji.
Right.
And then from then on, the organization, Public Safety Devil Hunters, finds out about Denji. They recruit him, so to speak. No, they make him join.
Basically.
And they end up using him as a weapon to help fight against the devils that appear.
Think of it like a more twisted version of Generator Rex.
Yeah. And what you like about this manga when you first read it, first thing is very different.
Yes.
It's very unusual, very different. 2, it's got a crazy storyline. But it's not so crazy that you're reading and going, this is just crazy. How can I read this? You read it and you quickly get drawn into the universe and the world that it's set.
Right.
And then the third thing that's good are characters. And online they've pointed out how some of the characters are very similar to JJK characters.
Yes, a lot.
But you have Denji, who we've mentioned, who has been compared to Yuji. You have Aki, who's been compared to Megami.
A lot, yeah.
You have Power, who's actually a fiend.
You're right.
And I think they compare her to Nobu or something.
Right, I guess because they act a little unhinged sometimes. Although Power acts unhinged all the time. There is no off switch.
Yeah. And so they're the 3 core. And they get comparisons, and you've seen a lot of memes. But they're very different characters. You see a couple similarities. They pointed out like Aki using an elephant. But they are different characters that stand up on their own when you read the manga.
Yes. Yeah. And if you've already watched the anime, then you'll probably know majority of what's going to go on in the manga, up at least until season 1. So you're going to be taken by surprise when a lot of these different things happen past season 1, as you said, past volume 5. And when it gets towards...
And in this first season of the anime, you really get the public safety arc.
Right. And you still get a breakdown of how the world works and everything. Mm-hmm. And then when you get to what's going to be in the movie and later season 2, that's when things really start to go...
very different.
Yes, very differently when it comes to how, I guess, the status quo works, which was already changed with, I'll just say the end of the first season. Well, status quo is about to change again because it becomes a complete frenzy when it comes to the Rize arc, and there's this giant battle. It kind of gets to the level of JJK0, only it escalates very quickly in here rather than it builds up over the course of the story. It actually ends up being all of a sudden it's time to fight, and then this fight lasts for chapters upon chapters upon chapters, and it's like a complete mayhem.
Yeah. And another thing changes is, Denji, one reason he's doing this because he wants to see boobs.
That's it.
He wants to kiss a girl.
That's
he wants to have a place to lay down and sleep and food to eat, and he's good. Well, when you get to volume 6 and he begins fighting against Rize, things get really different in terms of you go from an occasional mention of these things and knowing what Denji wants till the focus being on her clothing or lack of clothing, I should say. And
most yes, you could say.
when you get to volume 7 of the manga, then it really becomes very sexually overt. There's no other way to put it. It turns into a huge lesbianism volume with the fiends and the devils and graphic scenes of things happening. And for most of that volume, that's what it's about. Until you get toward the end, when you finally realize what their purpose in the story is.
Yes.
But you have to get through all of that. Now, for people who are reading to get a story and not for fan service or sex,
right.
Volume 7 is going to be a volume that may not be suitable for you to read.
After a certain point,
I read 6 and 7 first, and I was pretty surprised when this is the turn that 6 and 7 took.
Yeah.
And didn't expect it, didn't see it coming. For those of you that are manga readers as well as anime watchers, and you've read up to the current volume, I think number 10 in the U.S., then you know it's coming.
Right.
And you're going to be good with it. But for anime-only watchers, it's going to be a rude awakening when you get to season 2.
Right. And one next thing definitely want to point out is that we know there are viewers out there who do enjoy seeing those types of depictions in manga and anime and some of their favorite things. Just so we make it abundantly clear, we're okay with the inclusion of these characters in the story. It's been in other animes and mangas, and we're just fine. We just don't want the story to get sidetracked because they have shifted the focus on a whole new group of characters, and the first impression of the characters are what you see on the page, and they want to ban Assassination Classroom. That's so funny.
True.
So, but we understand if you do.
One of the best things about these volumes that you get to find out who Makima is really.
Right.
Because in the anime you don't find out.
But
you get a hint something's going on weird because of what happens within the last few anime episodes.
Right.
And you okay, she's not human.
Right.
But you find out whom and what she is in these volumes. So that's a really good thing.
Right.
And also you find out more about Aki and how he keeps giving up portions of his lifespan to help others, and they keep telling him not to do it, and he keeps doing it. And in this instance, it does remind me of Megami trying to, in the beginning when he kept trying to summon Mahoraga.
Right.
And everyone kept saying he just has a death wish, he just keeps trying to do it. So they were similar in that instance.
Right.
And Power you just find out she's a crazy fiend, and she does all this crazy stuff,
all the
and she
time.
blames other people for her stuff, or she takes credit for stuff she didn't do,
all
and
the
tells
time.
you that she knew already. She knew,
yeah,
and you just didn't know. So
right,
it's really heavy comedic element in the story.
And the story does have a lot of comedy in it. Even with the mixture of things that are happening again more serious, they do find little bits to put in some humor in it. Mm-hmm. But for a while, I'll just say, for what covers the first season, there are pretty hilarious moments, like you said, especially with Power and Denji saying different things. It's just like, why are you saying this? And of course, using their little comedic music and annoying Aki and everything. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of humor in here.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think the only thing that might be the biggest turnoff is there are a few gross moments. And by that, we don't just mean in terms of when the people are being sliced and diced and everything, or the villains are being sliced and diced. They show more gross out in terms of what the humans do. Mm-hmm. And if you're really uncomfortable with that, I want to warn you, because they censor mostly in the anime, but in the manga, it's completely uncensored. Yeah. So we ended up having to skip just a few of the panels because of that.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen the anime, it's available, as far as I know, exclusively on Crunchyroll. It's licensed there. 12 episodes. Go there, watch it. You will be entertained in many ways, and you will enjoy this first season. Mm-hmm. If you've read the manga, Chainsaw Man, let us know in the comments. We're interested in hearing your thoughts.
Yeah.
And if you haven't, it's available at your public library. It's available to purchase on Amazon. And I think you can read it on Viz Media. The newest volumes for free. Mm-hmm. But it is further volumes, then you have to subscribe in order to read them. But go ahead, read it, come back and tell us your thoughts on Chainsaw Man manga.
Right. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and weekly videos for your anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, subscribing, sharing your videos, commenting, and so much more. We appreciate you so much. And as always,
you are special. Thank you so much for watching My Entertainment
and Mom Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.